What if everything you've believed about your existence, your purpose, your struggles, your very presence on Earth, was merely the surface of a much deeper truth? What if the life you're living right now was actually chosen by you long before your first breath in this world? We speak of free will and chance, of random circumstance and cosmic accidents, yet what remains hidden is perhaps the most extraordinary revelation of all, that your soul made a deliberate choice to be here, accepting a mission so profound that its memory had to be veiled from your conscious mind. The greatest illusion may not be that we are separate from divinity, but that we never knew why we chose to experience that separation in the first place. The forgetting was intentional, the struggles, purposeful, the longing for something more, a built-in compass guiding you back to a truth your waking mind cannot yet comprehend. What if I told you that recovering this hidden knowledge isn't about learning something new, but remembering something ancient that has always lived within you? In the silence between your thoughts, in that space where intuition speaks louder than logic, lies the echo of a promise your soul made before time as you know it began. Today, we unveil that promise together. Deep within the sands of Egypt, hidden for nearly 2 millennia, lay a text so revolutionary that its very existence threatened the foundations of established religious thought. The Secret Book of John, or the Apocryphon of John as scholars would later call it, survived against impossible odds, preserved in the Nag Hammadi library, sealed away in earthen jars as if waiting for the right moment to re-emerge to human consciousness. This isn't merely an ancient document, it's a cosmic blueprint, a soul map describing not only the true nature of our universe, but the extraordinary journey each soul undertakes before entering human form. Unlike the sanitized religious narratives that shaped Western civilization, this forbidden text speaks of a divine mission, a sacred contract that each spark of consciousness accepts before descending into the material world. The Secret Book of John doesn't speak of sin and salvation in conventional terms. Instead, it reveals a cosmic drama of consciousness, forgetfulness, and remembrance that transcends simplistic notions of good and evil. It describes how each soul, a fragment of divine light, voluntarily enters the realm of matter, not as punishment, but as part of a grand cosmic restoration. What makes this revelation so profound is not just its antiquity, but its resonance, how it speaks directly to that inexplicable feeling many of us carry, that we are here for a specific purpose, one that eludes our everyday understanding. The text describes a mission so sacred that its full comprehension must be veiled during our earthly existence, yet remains encoded within us, waiting to be remembered. If these words awaken something within you, a distant memory, a familiar resonance that feels more like recognition than learning, then perhaps you are beginning to remember. This channel exists as a sanctuary for souls in the process of remembering their true nature, their origin, and their purpose. Join us on this journey of recollection by subscribing, not merely to receive content, but to participate in a collective awakening that transcends the digital medium through which we connect. With each video, we venture deeper into the mysteries that conventional wisdom has forgotten or deliberately obscured. Your presence here is no accident. It is part of the remembering. By subscribing, you're not just following content. You're acknowledging that inner voice that has always known there was more to your existence than what meets the eye. You're creating a connection to others on the same path of remembrance. This space was created for those who feel the call of something greater than themselves, something that cannot be named but is recognized in the depths of your being. If you sense that call, join this gathering of remembering souls. The subscription button is more than a digital function. It's a symbolic affirmation of your soul's continuing journey toward complete awareness. According to the Secret Book of John, our universe exists as a complex hierarchy of realities. At the highest level resides what the Gnostics called the monad, the ineffable, unknowable source of all being. This is not the creator God of conventional religion, but something far more transcendent, a principle of pure consciousness beyond all attributes and limitations. From this ultimate reality emanated the aeons, divine aspects or expressions of the monad's infinite potential, existing in what the text describes as the pleroma, the fullness of divine reality. The cosmic drama began when one of these aeons, Sophia, whose name means wisdom, acted independently, creating without her divine counterpart. In her passionate desire to know the unknowable source, she gave birth to an imperfect entity, the demiurge, named Yaldabaoth in the text. Unaware of the higher realities above him, this demiurge mistakenly believed himself to be the supreme God and proceeded to create the material world we inhabit, a flawed reflection of the divine perfection he had never known. Yet here is where the narrative transcends simple mythology. The secret book of John reveals that humanity occupies a unique position in this cosmic structure. Though our physical bodies were fashioned by the demiurge and his archons, cosmic rulers or powers, our true essence, our consciousness, contains a divine spark directly from the pleroma. We are, in essence, divine light trapped in matter, living in a world created by an entity who does not recognize the true source of all being. This is why we feel both at home and alien in this world, why we experience both connection to our physical existence and a persistent longing for something beyond it. Our souls remember what our minds have forgotten, that we are fragments of divine light temporarily experiencing limitation. But this limitation is not a punishment. It serves a greater purpose in the cosmic order. The most revolutionary aspect of this ancient wisdom is its explanation for why souls would choose to enter such an imperfect world. According to the secret book of John, each spark of consciousness makes a deliberate choice to descend into matter, not as punishment, but as part of a grand mission to transform the very nature of the material realm through awakening. We are not victims of cosmic circumstances, but conscious participants in a divine plan to bring light into darkness, to transform limitation through the power of awareness. This mission, to remember our true nature while fully immersed in forgetting, is perhaps the greatest act of cosmic courage imaginable. And it is one that each of us accepted before our first breath in this world. What if the mythic figures of the secret book of John are not distant cosmic entities, but aspects of our own consciousness? What if this ancient text is not describing external gods and powers, but the inner landscape of the human psyche, a map of our own divided awareness? Perhaps the demiurge is not an external creator god, but represents our own ego mind, that part of us that believes itself to be separate, autonomous, and supreme in its limited domain. This ego self, like Yaldabaoth, creates a world in its own image, constructing reality according to its limited understanding, unaware of the greater consciousness from which it emerged. It surrounds itself with archons, which we might understand as our habitual thought patterns, social conditioning, and the structures of belief that maintain the illusion of separateness. These archons are not evil in the conventional sense, but they are limiting. They keep us identified with the smaller self, the personality, rather than the divine spark at our core. Sophia's fall from the pleroma can be understood as consciousness becoming enamored with its own creations, the mind becoming so identified with its thoughts and perceptions that it forgets its true nature as pure awareness. Yet within this forgetting lies the seed of remembrance, the divine spark. What the Gnostics called the pneuma or spirit remains untouched by the limitations of material existence, waiting to be recognized and remembered. This perspective transforms our understanding of human suffering and limitation. What we experience as confusion, longing, or the pain of separation is actually the divine spark within us responding to the dissonance between what we believe ourselves to be and what we truly are. That persistent feeling that something is missing, that there must be more to existence than what we perceive, This is not neurosis or discontent, but the first stirring of remembrance. The mission your soul accepted was not to escape the material world, but to transform it through consciousness. Each moment of genuine presence, each instance where you recognize yourself as more than your thoughts and emotions, each act of compassion that transcends self-interest, these are fulfillments of that mission. You are not here to reject the world, but to bring the light of awareness into its darkest corners. This understanding liberates us from both spiritual materialism and world-denying asceticism. We need not accumulate spiritual experiences like possessions, nor must we reject the beauty and complexity of physical existence. Instead, we are invited to become conscious bridges between realms, to live fully in the material world while remaining aware of our transcendent nature. Perhaps the greatest revelation is this: awakening is not an escape from the world, but a deeper engagement with it. When we recognize our true nature, we don't abandon our humanity. We express it more fully, more compassionately, more authentically. The mission was never about ascending beyond the world, but bringing heaven to earth through the quality of our presence. If these words resonate with something deeper than your thinking mind, if they touch that place of knowing that exists beyond belief and opinion, I invite you to acknowledge this resonance. This recognition is not about agreeing with concepts, but about experiencing a truth that your soul already knows. It's about allowing the veil to thin between your everyday awareness and your deeper knowing. When you press the like button on this video, you're doing more than engaging with content. You're participating in a subtle but powerful act of recognition. You're saying, "Yes, something in me remembers this truth." This simple gesture creates ripples in the collective consciousness, helping others who are on the verge of remembering about find their way to this wisdom. Each like becomes a beacon for other seeking souls, a marker that says, "Someone recognized truth here." In a digital landscape flooded with distraction and superficiality, these markers create pathways of meaning that guide others toward remembrance. Your engagement is not merely supporting content, it's supporting the awakening of consciousness itself. If what you've heard today has illuminated something within you, acknowledge that light with a simple gesture. Let your recognition become part of the bridge that helps others cross from forgetting to remembering. In the economy of consciousness, such gestures matter more than we can comprehend. Have you ever noticed how certain challenges in your life seem to repeat, presenting themselves in different forms, but always touching the same core wound or limitation? This is not random misfortune or bad luck. It's your soul's mission unfolding. Each of these recurring patterns represents an aspect of consciousness that you volunteered to transform, not just for yourself, but as your contribution to the evolution of all awareness. Think about the relationships that have caused you the greatest pain, but also catalyzed the most significant growth. Consider the talents or gifts you possess that have always seemed to come naturally to you, as if remembered rather than learned. Reflect on those inexplicable moments of knowing, when you recognized a truth beyond logic, or recognized a person as if from another time. These are not anomalies, but glimpses of your soul's continuing journey, fragments of memory breaking through the veil of forgetting. Your deepest wounds and your greatest gifts are not separate aspects of your being. They are intimately connected, two sides of the same coin. What hurts most is often connected to what you came to heal. What comes most naturally is frequently what you came to share. The specific constellation of your strengths and challenges is not random, but purposeful, a unique configuration designed for your particular mission. Consider this. What if the very aspects of yourself that you've been trying to fix or overcome are actually essential components of your soul's purpose? What if your sensitivity, your intensity, your questioning mind, your rebellious spirit, whatever qualities have made conventional life challenging, are actually the exact tools needed for your specific mission? Perhaps you weren't meant to fit seamlessly into the structures of this world, because your purpose involves transforming those very structures. The Secret Book of John suggests that each soul chooses specific limitations and gifts before incarnating, not as punishment or reward, but as the perfect vehicle for its unique contribution to cosmic evolution. Your struggles are not evidence of failure, but confirmation that you're engaged with exactly the aspects of existence you came to transform. This perspective doesn't eliminate suffering, but it transforms our relationship to it. When we recognize our challenges as chosen rather than imposed, we approach them with greater courage and creativity. We stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this awakening in me? What aspect of consciousness is seeking transformation through this experience?" The mission you accepted was never about achieving perfection or escaping the human condition. It was about bringing the quality of presence, the light of awareness, into specific aspects of human experience that you were uniquely qualified to transform. Your success is not measured by conventional achievements, but by the depth of consciousness you bring to each moment, each relationship, each challenge. The divine spark within you, that essence which the Gnostics called pneuma, is not separate from the universal consciousness that permeates all existence. When you remember your true nature, you're not discovering something new, but recognizing what has always been true. The veil of forgetting was never complete. It was thin enough to allow glimpses of remembrance, moments of recognition that have guided you even in your most lost and confused states. This remembering isn't a single event, but an ongoing process, a gradual awakening that unfolds throughout your lifetime. Each moment of genuine presence, each act of unconditional love, each instance where you recognize yourself as more than your thoughts and emotions, these are fulfillments of your soul's mission. They are moments where the divine spark within you shines through the veil of forgetting, transforming not just your individual experience, but the very fabric of collective consciousness. The mission described in the Secret Book of John transcends individual salvation or enlightenment. It speaks of a cosmic restoration, the reunification of all fragmented consciousness with its source. Your individual awakening is part of this larger process, a crucial thread in the tapestry of universal remembering. As you remember your true nature, you create resonance that helps others remember theirs. This is why authentic spiritual awakening always expresses itself as compassion. When you truly recognize the divine spark within yourself, you naturally recognize it in others. You see beyond their personalities, their beliefs, their behaviors, even those that seem most contrary to truth, to the essential light that animates them. You understand that their forgetting, their confusion, their suffering are all parts of the same cosmic drama in which you play your own role. Perhaps now we can understand why the soul would choose forgetting. Only by experiencing separation could we know the joy of reunion. Only by temporarily identifying with limitation could we appreciate the boundlessness of our true nature. Only by playing our part in the cosmic drama with full conviction could we fulfill the purpose of bringing consciousness into every aspect of existence. The mission you accepted before coming to Earth was the grandest, most courageous undertaking imaginable: to forget your divine nature completely, to identify with limitation and separation, and then to remember, bringing the light of that remembrance into the darkest corners of existence. Every time you choose love over fear, presence over distraction, compassion over judgment, you are fulfilling that mission. You are bringing heaven to earth, one conscious moment at a time. We began by questioning whether your presence on earth was random or chosen. Now perhaps you can feel the truth. There was never any accident in your being here. The specific circumstances of your life, your family, your culture, your historical moment, your challenges and gifts, all were chosen as the perfect vehicle for your unique contribution to the evolution of consciousness. The forgetting was necessary. How else could divine consciousness experience the journey of remembering? How else could infinity explore its own nature through the lens of limitation? How else could love know itself except by first experiencing separation? Your soul chose this journey not despite its difficulties, but because of them, knowing that each challenge would be an opportunity for light to enter darkness, for consciousness to transform limitation. What once seemed like cosmic abandonment, the sense of separation from Source that haunts the human condition, can now be recognized as the most profound act of love. You were never truly separate. You were consciousness itself playing the game of forgetting, in order to experience the joy of remembering. The longing you've felt throughout your life was not evidence of something missing, but the magnetic pull of your own wholeness, calling you home to yourself. The secret book of John isn't just describing ancient cosmic events, it's mapping the territory of your own consciousness, the journey from wholeness to fragmentation and back to wholeness again, but now enriched by the wisdom that only experience can bring. This is not a journey from here to somewhere else, but a deepening into the truth of what you have always been. Perhaps the most beautiful revelation is this: you don't need to wait for some future moment of complete awakening to fulfill your soul's mission. Each moment of genuine presence, each act of unconditional love, each instance where you recognize the divine spark in another being, these are not steps toward fulfillment, but fulfillment itself. The mission is not completed in some final moment of transcendence, but is being accomplished in every conscious breath you take. As our exploration comes to its natural resting place, I invite you to sit with a question that only your deepest self can answer. What aspect of divine consciousness did your soul volunteer to embody and express in this lifetime? What quality of presence, what form of love, what expression of truth did you come here to manifest? Share a single word in the comments that captures the essence of what you feel. Your soul came here to embody, whether it's compassion, truth, creativity, healing, joy, or any other quality that resonates with your deepest knowing. This isn't just a comment, it's a declaration of remembrance, an affirmation of your soul's purpose that may help others recognize their own. In sharing your word, you're adding your unique note to the symphony of remembering that we're creating together.